what I normally focus on as the co-founder of an organization with my husband and I called Institute of Whole Life Healing, is really working with folks around the world in terms of integrating the wholeness of self. The area that I have focused most on over the past maybe 35 years has been working with women and the sacred feminine. And then narrowing that down to, in terms of the sacred feminine, working with the womb and the interconnectedness and power that we as women on this planet and in so many different galaxies known as the feminine, the power that we bring. And so that's where my passion is, that's where my commitment is, and that's where my journey has been over the years.
Could you tell the audience about some of the special programs that you have committed yourself to honoring and exposing to women?
Yes, yes. Well, how it started becoming more formalized over the years, and this was right around the time, actually, when I met you and moved to Kentucky. I started really saying, okay, I'm going to answer a particular calling that had been reappearing to me over the years prior to that. And I got to Kentucky and it was like, okay, it is now time to support women in rebirthing themselves and reconnecting with this sacred energy that some know as the Great Mother. And so formalizing that, I answered the call to facilitate as a spiritual midwife a journey called the Sacred Feminine Mysteries, initiation into the priesthood. And that is about rebirthing the energy of the Great Mother. And so that's an initiation for women that has been going on now for probably 16, 17 years. And along with that, taking that to the next level, several years ago, the mothers said to me, I refer to them as the ancient mothers, said to me, Osunnike, this is wonderful working with these smaller groups of women. However, the time is upon us now to reach a larger group. And so that mission came as 1 million wombs united. And that's working with a critical mass of women around the world, healing, liberating, igniting the power within our wombs to really contribute consciously to the healing and evolution of humanity. So those are the two major key pieces. And then I also work with women in sacred group settings to do the work that's really necessary to heal our wombs and a lot of the trauma that we've been carrying intergenerationally within our wombs. So those become very sacred weekend healing, womb healing retreats to heal that trauma and to then begin liberating the sacred feminine power.
Do you find that the work that you've been charged to do with women catapults your own femininity to the next level?
Oh, yes. Because there's responsibility with that. you know, one of the things that I want to say that also challenged me when I received this calling was that for several years prior to saying, okay, I'm going to do this, I was having difficulty with my own womb, dealing with fibroid tumors. And it was very confusing because I had gone from, just a regular kind of eating person, food eating person, to really working with going vegetarian, vegan, raw, juice fasting, Chinese herbs, you name it. I did everything. And 3 times had to wind up having surgical procedures, which was very confusing to me, seeing that I thought I was doing everything holistically, naturally to heal myself. However, I was being called to step into what I call the next octave of my beingness, and to really understand at a much deeper, much higher level what it means to be a womb man in this lifetime, at this time, on this planet, and to better understand that and take responsibility for that, for my own continued healing across the board, and honoring my power in the healthiest ways possible, remembering how I had misused that power in other lifetimes, and truth be told, I don't know how many people are listening, but a little bit in this lifetime, and to take responsibility for that across the board as my continued evolution and growth. So it wasn't just about, going out here and trying to help everybody else to get it together. No, on this journey, it's also continues to expose each and every one of us, especially those who are moving into eldership, which I'm an elder, but probably mid-elder, and still listening to my elders who are approaching their 100th year and what have you, to really honor that wisdom and be responsible for carrying this on. So it's an ongoing process for all of us. Yeah.
How do you feel or think this generation of women have lost? Lost is really not the word I want to use, but lost is the thing I can think of right now. How do you think this generation of women and girls have lost themselves? And do you think or feel like it's different than the way my generation lost itself, or your generation, or even your mother's generation lost itself? Like, what do you think is the still one of the threads that weaves those generations of women together? What is it that we still have not found the answer to, in terms of our going deeper and really getting real true sense of what our healing needs to look like?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and one that I continue working with day to day, as a daughter, as a mother, as a grandmother. What else is it that we are needing? And one of the things that comes to mind is understanding. This may sound simple or woo-woo or whatever. Really, and it's not even understanding, knowing the true depth of our sacredness, of our originality, of our power, of this physical being, especially for the feminine, the female being this temple. And we have lost that, you know, for many years. My generation before me, we had an understanding a little bit in terms of what it meant to be a powerful woman. And then through, you know, what they talk about in terms of patriarchy and how we bought into that and what have you, we began to lose some of that. And then in the reclaiming, supposedly, of that, we've kind of gone to the other extreme. And now, the generation that we're dealing with now, and a little bit in terms of your generation, became the angry, vindictive Black woman who, you know, I know who I am, I'm in charge, I'm gonna punish you, I'm gonna make you pay, or using our power in the most unhealthy, destructive ways, our sensuality, our sexuality, you know, it's up in your face, it's my body, I'm gonna do with it what I wanna do with it. All of that, it's like we've gone to the other extreme. And this is a time of really helping even our mothers out, because they're angry too. Some of them, they were stifled, didn't know how to express it, just took the abuse, passed it on to us. But my generation, your generation, the grandchildren, a lot of these new ones that are coming in, they're not even carrying this stuff. They are so unique, so fresh, so different, and they need to be really protected, because all of the stuff that many of us are still carrying and dealing with, they're looking at us like, what? What is that about? Why are you doing that? What's wrong with you? Don't you know who you are? So I believe that we've gone to the extreme, and it's about coming back into this balance of understanding what true feminine power is, which is not about force, push, blame, anger. It's about transmutation. It's about understanding your sacred medicine and how to use it in the healthiest, highest vibration possible, through the law of cause and effect. I think that that's what we have lost and taken to the other extreme. And going back to our natural roots is my responsibility and your responsibility, to make sure that those behind us, those that have come through us, are able to really get it, because the power that they hold, and that they can use, is 100 times more intense, more viable than mine, yours, because it just keeps intensifying. And do we want to use that intensity for good, or not good?
I was speaking to an elder a few weeks ago who was mentioning that that the energy at this point on our planet is at critical mass. That although there was the illusion of things are things are bad. They're really, really, that things are really, really bad. It's just every time you turn around, every time you turn on the TV, you listen to the radio, you talk to somebody, everything's just bad, not just here in the United States, it's bad on the planet. Mm-hmm. She reminded me that that's about perception. That's about perspective.
Yes.
About what are you putting out into the universe that transforms that energy.
Yes.
And so I say that to ask the question, do you feel like this is the time, or has it always, do you feel like it's always been, this planet has globally has always been in a period of this is now the time to work and perform at your highest and your greatest good, to elevate not only yourself, but to put in the energy or ask for the prayers that elevation be made, for everyone, so that everyone's kind of pouring into the same pot. Mm-hmm. Almost. Or do you feel like that energy is just being contained, and it's just, it's still kind of trembling, it's still kind of waiting for an explosion? And then what happens? What happens after it explodes? Are we in that explosive period of transformation, of knowledge, of change, of really personifying what unconditional love looks like? Mm-hmm. So there's so many emotions involved in that. How does one person move in a way in their everyday lives that can shift the energy of that pot? Mm-hmm. How can one person move to pour more into that pot instead of taking? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of a loaded question.
Yeah, it is. And it's true. And I would say that it is both. We're functioning in the now moment. And there is also all of this tremendous upheaval, chaos, and what have you that is going on around us, that is a part of the breakthrough, the rebirthing for all of us. For instance, when a woman is in labor, giving birth, there is trauma, there is chaos, there is all kinds of crazy that's going on as this being is making its way into the world. So this is a wonderful thing that's happening. This life is coming through this tunnel into this realm of reality. That's wonderful. However, in that moment, as that mother is feeling those pains, her insides feeling like they're being ripped open, that baby being pushed and forced through that tunnel, like, wait a minute, I was just in this nice comfort place, just chilling and what have you, and now where are we going? What's going on? All of this stuff. And then you've got this wonderful, if you're blessed, you've got this wonderful group of women, midwives, healers around you saying, come on, baby, come on, just focus on that breath, because in that breath, you are in the moment, you are in the present, you are in your power, in the midst of all of this pain and stress and what have you. You can do this. So this is happening simultaneously. The chaos, the stress, the craziness, all of that, because there is a transformation that is taking place, that always takes place. That upheaval, that shaking, that rumbling, that craziness. Is that real, or is that just Memorex? It really doesn't matter. It's happening. You feel it, you see it, you smell it, you taste it, all of that. How do you tap into that space within us? And we all know how to do that. And some of us focus or refer to it as the breath. Taking that breath and realizing that this is real and it's not real all at the same time. What is most real is that I am and I have the capacity, the ability, no matter what, to come through this and move into the highest essence of who I am. If one person can hold on to that, can remember that, can honor that, and mirror that for someone else, that's where the power is. That one reaches that one, reaches that one, reaches that one, and reawakens and reminds. And that's why through that laboring process, when you have those that are around you reminding you, you got this, you got this, you can do this. Oh, come back, look at me, look at me, look at me, breathe, come on, we can do this, we can do this. Oh, you are so powerful. Oh, you are so magnificent, which is the truth of who you are in the midst of all of this gut-wrenching pain. And then that life comes through after all that turmoil and looks at you, gives a little smile, and you realize, wow, wow, what a precious moment. I had the mothers say to me during a healing session that I was receiving 20 years ago, 18 years ago, find the ecstasy in the tragedy. Huh? What? That's ridiculous. That's an oxymoron. And truth be told, that's still a challenge for me at times. However, it's like extracting the diamonds from the dung and composting. What do we take from that? What is within us? What are the glimmers, the glimpses that we can extract from that? What does it invoke and evoke from us, seeing all of this madness and craziness, and rather than aligning with that, extracting the beauty that is within us? That's a high calling.
That's heavy magic.
Heavy magic. That's what I'm talking about.
That's heavy inner magic. That's
and it's
tragedy,
within us.
The tragedy in the ecstasy, or the ecstasy in the tragedy.
Yes. Yes. What does it bring forth, bring through, bring out, activate, reactivate within us?
Well, with that being said, Mother, what will you be doing to give ladies a glimpse of how to look for the ecstasy in their tragedy for the retreat?
Well, it's just going to be a glimpse. When we are able to taste, feel, sense, touch, hear, see, just a little bit of that feminine power, just to access a little bit of that, then it makes one curious. It makes one curious, and especially when you know that that resides within you. So to get a glimpse of that, to utilize and access some of the tools that help us to start to remember that amazing power, keeps us on that journey of uncovering, accessing, weaving together. Another quick thing I want to share with you about that. Many years ago, I had an experience during a breath session. And I was doing this breath work, and I was in a group with other people, everybody laying on the floor, doing this breath work. And so I'm breathing, breathing, breathing. And all of a sudden, I reached this point where all of a sudden, I started feeling this orgasmic energy. Now, we have people that try to explain to us what orgasm is, but none of us really know orgasm until you've experienced orgasm. And then there's no description for true orgasm. You can't describe that. You can try to pull words and, you know, roll your eyes around, move your mouth like, but orgasm is unexplainable. I started experiencing what may be called orgasm, something reawakening within my belly, my thighs, my buttocks. It was shocking. It brought tears. It took me to a place that I was trying to figure out how I'm in this place. Where am I? And it was exhilarating. It also felt otherworldly and like some kind of power I had never experienced before that I wouldn't even call power. I wouldn't even link it to that word. It was like allness. And within a split second, I then felt pain, like a searing pain. And that snapped me out of that place. And then I became embarrassed because I was wondering, you know, oh my goodness, was I making sounds? Was I moving my body? Did other people see this? You know, what was going on? And everybody was in their own world. But that awakened, that awakened something in me that was there that made me curious about what is this? And what was the pain associated with it? That was part of my conscious journey to then start understanding more of the feminine vessel, that power that comes with this, how this magic is reflected in the universe, cosmic womb, and how that all ties in. That was one of the first times of getting a glimpse of the magnitude of what this temple is called female.